I just have one thing to say to everybody. This is your team and it's here to stay.
You are now listening to Sports Talk 916 with Greg Bull and Coach Greg Veroza.
If you'd like to participate in the show, there are a couple of ways to do it. If you want to contact us on Twitter, use the show's Twitter address, which is @SportsTalk916. For Greg B, go to @MrChief916. And for me, Coach Greg, it's @Greg Veroza. And Veroza is VAROZZA. And if you want to chat live with us, the best place to go is go to the Mixler page and hit chat. There you'll see all of us chatting together as the show goes on. Hello, there you are.
Albert, can you hear us now?
Hey, how's it going? It's Sunday night, and this is edition 201. So we had a little creative accounting and decided we're going to renumber things to make it easier for me to remember when we do these show open. I'm Coach Greg Veroza. Over there is my buddy right there.
Just go ahead. I'm just doing
Mr. Chief, Greg Bull. He's...
Keep going. I'm just checking the crackle.
Oh, okay. So he's doing a quick sound check for us. We got a good show tonight. It's going to be fun. We got a special guest coming up here to start off with things. Going to talk about something that nobody's talking about in Sacramento at all. Kind of a secret surprise, super surprise topic that we're going to discuss. Some little transaction that happened with the Kings this last week. Actually, while we were on the air last week.
Yeah, that was like the biggest breaking news we've had in show history.
The look on your face when that happened, it was like you came to a complete stop.
Dude, I didn't know what to say at all.
I know you didn't. You're like, holy shit. And TJ, by the way, thanks for breaking that for us.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, how the fuck did you hear that anyway?
TJ's on Twitter like nonstop.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Stop
That's
that.
not good. Come on, sound guy. You said you were on top of things.
That's got to stop. Hold on.
Are you guys hearing a little snap, crackle, and pop?
I'm sure they are. Let's test this real quick. Make sure. That's clear. Cool. That's a great place for that song to start.
Right,
Huh?
yeah.
I have a dose of Oxycontin every day.
Maybe sometimes we need it, I think, when...
Jesus Christ. So yeah, like Greg said, it's going to be a big show. Episode 201. We have the chat box going. I'm going to go ahead and also try to keep an eye on the Facebook comments as they come in. We have a new setup with the iPad. It's a little bit further away. It's a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit harder to read the comments as they come in. I'm going to try to get them on my phone as they come through.
And you got to do it because that's way too far away from me.
Way
to
too
think
far
about
for you.
reading.
So let me go ahead and make sure our guest is ready. Let me text him since he's not on Facebook.
Listen. Let's see if I can make this thing not go off.
Just gotta crank your volume down. If you could watch comments for me during this.
You want me to watch them on Facebook, or do you want me to watch them on...
I got Mixler, if you can do
Okay.
Facebook. Did you hear the snap, crackle, and pop? Is everything okay? Barn Bomb is on top of it.
By the way, Mike, why the hell would we even think about postponing this show for the Oscars?
Never.
Come on now.
Never.
Come on, Mike.
Gotta love Mike. But yeah, we're gonna talk. Obviously, talk a little bit about the Kings today. I'm just waiting to hear back from Sean. Kings, Giants, Niners. If we can get to it. Last week we had a whole show planned and none of it got touched. The 500 was today, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I went to my
Holy crap!
went to my annual Daytona 500 party.
Nice.
I had Chase Elliott to win.
How'd he do?
He was leading with 3 laps to go and finished 14th.
Running out of gas?
Yep.
Wah, wah, wah.
I know, right? Then I had Austin Dillon. He was in 3rd place with 5 laps to go. Finished like 13th.
Nice.
So, but I did win the When Will Danica Crash Pool.
Really?
Yeah, lap 128. I had laps 126 through 150.
That's awesome that you guys have that pool. That's absolutely fantastic. I love it. We're live with Sean.
Where the hell do I find? I can't find. Oh, there we are.
So, FanFest, Season Ticket Holder Fest, we'll call it, was today for the Sacramento Kings. Did you get a chance to go to that today?
No, I gave my tickets away.
Well, that's not very season ticket
I was
holder
at my
deal.
Daytona 500 party.
Oh, that's right.
So, how was it? Was there a lot of people there?
I don't know. I
You
didn't
didn't go? I was going to call you and see if you wanted to go.
I had to work. I was at work till
Oh,
2:30.
okay.
And then we got to go down and we got to. There's my text tone. We got to go down and play at Golden One today. All right, cool. Let's get Sean on the phone here.
So there's actually 3 of us watching the Facebook Live right now. You, me, and Albert.
Right. Cool. Let's get Sean on. Chatbot or Facebook. Let me know if you hear him. Really?
We're sorry. You have
That's the number he gave me. What the hell? All right, we'll try that again. That's obviously not his phone number, so. All right. Well, let's just let's wait a second. He apparently doesn't know the number.
Oh, look who's on TV right now.
Oh, Big Cuz. What's up, Big Cuz?
Big Cuz is going to take a one-night break.
Yes, he is. Technical number 18. 32 seconds into the game.
Nice.
TJ says, new phone, who dis?
Look at him. He looks so good in purple. That's what he got.
That's a ticky tacky.
That's what he got for. That's going to get overturned.
That's got to be rescinded.
That'll be rescinded.
Let's try this number again.
Oh, there he is complaining and whining.
No, not Demarcus. Wait.
There he goes.
Yeah.
we're sorry.
Yeah, I think your buddy Deuce was giving you a deuce.
Deuce, what? It's not Deuce.
Or not Deuce, Sean Cunningham.
Sean, he's going to give us a call.
Oh, he was going to punch the...
He fouled out tonight, too, by the way.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep, it's typical DeMarcus. Well, the good thing is, Oscar says no sound. He's not hearing sound. I don't know how he's not hearing sound because everyone else is hearing sound.
Albert, are you hearing sound?
Check it on your phone. Just turn the volume up.
I guess I could do that, huh?
Yeah, might be a good idea. It's the phone call sound that we're worried about the most. Oh, crap.
Whose phone is...
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, Sean Cunningham, how are you doing there, sir?
Good, man. What's going on?
Not much, just trying to get our volumes down. It's a little on the loud side. So we are now joined by ABC 10 Sean Cunningham. Sean, thank you for taking time out of your evening tonight. We've been trying to play a little phone tag all day today. We just wanted to take a moment of your evening before you guys get ready to do your weekly show there to talk a little Demarcus Cousins and a little Sacramento Kings, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all. In fact, this tonight actually joining us on the show will be Whitey Gleason from ESPN 1320. So it'll be Whitey and Pierre in studio at ABC 10, and they have lots to talk about.
What time are you guys going on tonight? This is the other.
11:30. Yeah, ABC 10, 11:35 p.m. here in Sacramento, and they go all the way up till a little after midnight.
Now, do we know that for sure? Are the Oscars are going to be over by then?
I don't know. At this point, who knows? I would bet we'll be safe, but who knows for our late local news on late news tonight at 11.
Right.
Right on. Cool. So let's just jump right into it for you, Sean. You've been pretty close with Demarcus. You've covered him since essentially day one as a rookie. Did you have any knowledge of, aside from trade talks, of something that was actually going down, or were you blindsided by this?
Well, I think I was blindsided initially by the discussion that kind of led up to it. I mean, because usually it had always been killed by either Vlade, the organization, Demarcus's people, Demarcus himself, and I think a lot of people took, Vlade Divac and the organization at face value, which was that they weren't going to trade him. I always said that they were, you're stupid not to listen. You gotta listen, of course. But was I blindsided? Yeah, it was certainly surprising. I still didn't think, with all the talk that had been gone on about whether or not he would be here and the, extension that he was due to receive here in the off season. I thought you might get a little traction. I mean, you are approaching the deadline, so certainly there's always chatter out there. But blindsided, I'd say that's probably a safe bet.
All right. Yeah, that seems to be the local, or the common, I should say, feeling amongst media was that it was so far out of left field, especially after they made such a big deal to, publicly announce that they weren't going to make any moves. But then again, I guess it's kind of atypical with the, since Vivek took over, there hasn't been a tight lip in the organization in the front office since then. So it's kind of expected in a way. Were you?
Well, and more to that point, actually, Greg, is the funny part is, I mean, in professional sports, that's always kind of the kiss of death is when a general manager anywhere says, "Oh, we're not trading him. We're committed to this person." Well, that means you're going to be traded. And in this case, that was one of the things you thought that maybe would not happen because the loyalty, the family speak that both Vivek, Vlade, and Demarcus kind of live by. That you really did kind of take him at face value, and I'd say, contrary to what a lot of people might think in terms of the value Demarcus has around the league and whether or not the phone was blowing up, I would say that there were a lot of teams and really agencies as well that really kind of took them at their word.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like you said, we've been saying that, we've never called it the kiss of death, which probably should have. That's probably more accurate, but we've been talking about that for a couple weeks now. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, he's not being traded." It's like, well, that they can't come out and say we're going to trade him because then trade value hits the floor. Now, right. I was a little bit surprised of what they got for him. Do you think that DeMarcus's value was diminished simply for the fact that, obviously it's not a winning team, there's a lot of money on the line, or do you think it was solely reputation based that caused either teams to shy away from him or teams to just not want to be involved at all, just based on what they would be getting from him as a player?
And let me throw in one more question. Do you think it also had to do with his agent telling people that he wasn't going to re-sign with them?
Well, yeah, that's a lot to chew on. Let's start right there since it's more fresh in mind as far as the agent saying that. Look, anybody who makes a trade for anybody, okay, DeMarcus has the rest of this year and next year, meaning he's a free agent in the summer of 2018. It shouldn't have to be said that no matter where he goes, he's not going to sign an extension. What I mean by that is that doesn't destroy your deal. Why would anybody pigeonhole themselves to say, I'm going to be traded to New Orleans Pelicans. I'm going to come out and say, yeah, I'll extend. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how he plays with the people. He doesn't know how he meshes within that environment and the people that are around him. Nobody ever gets traded and says, yeah, I plan to extend. So the agent's coming out and saying, we don't plan to extend. Well, why would they? Why would they? At that point, you don't stand to be a $200 million man anymore. Right. You're going into a new environment. You're at that point, now that you're no longer the designated player rule under the new collective bargaining agreement, you're looking forward to free agency at that point, whether it be with New Orleans. That doesn't signal out New Orleans. That doesn't mean by any means he doesn't want to stay in New Orleans. But why would you sit there and chop yourselves off at the knees by saying, yes, we would love to extend in New Orleans? Certainly you come out and say, yeah, it's a possibility, but I'm going to, we're going to look at the market at where it's at. My outlook long term is what's in the best interest of me. So the agents are doing what's in the best interest of their client. That's just business. That's just the way it happens. And anybody to sit there and say that, oh, shame on the agents for having the best interest of their client at hand, that's just foolish. If Demarcus Cousins isn't part of Sacramento, then guess what? His representation and his agents should not give a damn what happens in Sacramento with the Kings, right?
Right.
So, and then more to the point, I forget how you mentioned that one just sticks out the most. But in terms of what they got for him and the way it all went down, I mean that's an entirely different discussion. Look, I'll say this: in terms of whether or not people were after him or whether they say they felt this was the best deal that they could get, mind you, I've started this conversation out by saying there are teams and there are people that I have talked to, agencies, executives with teams, PR people, other media members. You're going to find people that are going to say, yeah, you know what, because of Demarcus's style of play, because of his reputation, because of his talent, and even, there are still people out there who are critical of the way he plays and the shape he's in. Because of all that, yeah, you might have some naysayers. You may have some people that are going to say, you know what, we're not too interested. Look, no team that's within a championship contending team is going to want someone like Demarcus because they can't afford him. I mean, those teams already have a good amount of money invested into other players. For example, he doesn't fit on Cleveland, right? You'd have to make it. You'd have to clear a lot of cap room to bring him on, even under the current salary structure.
Right.
Where I'm getting at is, when you take someone at face value, yes, you can. The phone can always ring. As Vlade told me directly, look, we didn't have a lot of calls. Okay, well, guess what? At that point, if you don't think you're getting enough for Demarcus, that doesn't mean you take the best deal you have. They accepted the deal on Saturday. They accepted a different deal on Sunday. The trade deadline is Thursday. Look at the flurry of activity that happens on trade deadline. Teams
Right.
get a little bit different. At that point, I was told by several executives around the league that on Saturday, the line from the Kings when they were calling about the trade or even inquiring about Demarcus is that they were taking no more calls. So, which is it? Now, look, the fact of the matter is, Chicago was smart and didn't like what they were getting for Jimmy Butler. Indiana didn't like what they were getting for Paul George. Boston didn't trade any of their picks to make a move. If you're not happy with what you got, or you have to settle for a deal that you think is the best, either you pull the trigger, which clearly they did, or you wait till closer to the deadline, which they didn't. You wait until the offseason where he still has a year on his deal left, or there's no gun to his head that you have to trade him. And furthermore, the $200 million, yes, he qualifies for that. But the Kings are the ones that put it out there that said that they would give it to him.
Right, it's not a guaranteed.
That this extension. Right. You didn't have to give him the extension. He was eligible for it. You didn't have to give it to him.
Right, and that's what always stuck out to me too. It's like, okay, well, let's float this around to make him happy. Yet, obviously, you're going to have a conversation at the end of the year. Or at the end of that time, and you're going to discuss it. Maybe you feel that in discussions, you don't have to max him out in order to make the team better. Maybe he takes one of those cuts, which I doubt he would do. But there's a lot more to do than just throwing it out. 7 months before he's even eligible to sign it, you're already throwing numbers around. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Do you think the way that Vlade and Vivek handled the situation, telling him he's not going to be traded and then ultimately going behind his back and doing so, do you think that Demarcus is the type of player that may look to sign with a rival team, Lakers, maybe even the Nuggets aren't a rival, but reunite with Coach Malone in a situation where he can come back and he can stick it to the Kings 4 times a year and try to push a team that they're going to see frequently to the playoffs and beyond?
No. I think that he's going to do what's in his best interest for not only his game but his security going forward. I mean, he's going to. I think he's going to have his pick and where he wants to live, and Sacramento is a place he wanted to remain in, a community he wanted to remain in and live. But at the end of the day, that won't factor into it. I mean, he's gonna go with what's the best situation for him to win, to be able to produce, to still be able to be a top-notch player in the league, and also the best contract of it that he can get. I mean, that's not lost on it. I think yeah, there might be some. Certainly, when he plays the Kings, he's going to have a stick it to you mentality, I would imagine. But no, I don't think that would factor too much into where he wants to sign. That would just kind of be a little foolish, I think.
And would you agree with me when I tell Kings fans that are hopeful that this was a ploy by Vlade to build a team, then bring Demarcus back in 2 years, that's not happening?
That's not happening.
Yeah, I think that bridge was incinerated. It wasn't just burned. It was melted into the whatever. But
That is correct. Yeah, that's a pipe dream.
I don't
walk away from the Elmer's glue.
Right, and I don't think that would be an option that the Kings would want to pursue either.
No. I mean, especially, you draw your line in the sand at this point. Look, like it or not, they weren't committed to paying this guy $200 million. Now,
Thank
where
God.
that changed, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did, and even going after him in a smaller role, no, it just wouldn't happen that way. This is it's a clean slate, a fresh start, and knowing that what they got for Demarcus, where you and I might argue over, we might even agree, excuse me, that they didn't get enough, and I would, that's what I do agree. I don't think they got enough for him. The fact of the matter is, you kind of have to respect them from the sense that, they didn't want to pay him the money, and they wanted anything to do a fresh start, and if that's what they want, whether we agree with it or not, I respect them for doing it. I mean, that's their decision, and they're certainly they're taking all the heat that goes along with it.
Absolutely. Now let's do something. Let's move on. Demarcus is obviously gone. The new guys are here. Everyone's calling it the new era of proud. There was a lot of folks on Facebook that asked me to ask you a specific question. You were at the Bighorns game this week, correct? I believe you were.
Yeah.
Someone saw you sitting on the baseline next to Tyreek Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was wondering and concerned that Tyreek was sitting baseline by himself away from the rest of the team. And I noticed that you were there. I knew we were going to be talking this week, so I promised people I would ask, did you talk to Tyreek? Is he happy being in Sacramento again, or is he looking at the calendar and saying, I have 23 games left to get the hell out of here? What's your vibe from Tyreek Evans if you've been able to talk to him?
Yeah. Well, Tyreek was the last guy I think either him or Scal was the last guy to arrive. You have to understand, there wasn't where they were over there. They had a spot for him, but Tyreek showed up with him and his two friends. He wasn't going to leave his friends sitting by themselves. So where we were, there was whoever saw us, you could see there was a ton of empty seats right there in that little baseline there.
Right.
By the way, I used to cover Tyreek, and he's familiar with me. He goes and sits with Vivek, Vlade. He doesn't know any of those guys. So even though they are in, a power of, I'm a familiar face, and so we can get along great, and we can talk, and I think it had more to do with that than anything. In fact, there was at one point Vivek came over to him behind him, tapped him on the shoulder to say, "Hey Vivek, hey Tyreek, we have an open space over there." And I'm fine here. He's with his friends. So reading a little too much into that. But in terms of what's best for him and going forward, he is an expiring contract. If you were asking me, what I believe where he'll be at the end of the year, will he still be a King after July 1st or not? No, I think he's probably going to go on elsewhere. That's not to say that the Kings don't have interest in him, but Tyreek's going to go wherever. He's coming off of knee injuries. He's trying to work his way back. He's in a really weird spot for his NBA career. It hasn't gone all that smooth since the Rookie of the Year that he won here in Sacramento. So I think his people would have tried to get him a buyout to get maybe with a team that was playoff bound and then he could help. But he's looking at Sacramento and the remaining games here as a tremendous opportunity for him. He wants to land somewhere. He doesn't have security beyond the season. So that's not to say he doesn't want to stay in Sacramento. Sacramento could very well be a spot for him in the future. I don't think that'll happen. I think there's probably other opportunities that might be better for him. But certainly now that with no Demarcus Cousins and the way the salary cap will be, Sacramento's going to have enough money to throw at him, and Sacramento might be able to offer him more than anywhere else. So he's definitely open to it. But I think if he had a moment of honesty, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think he would have probably liked to latch onto a team that was in the playoff hunt right now.
As I'm sure many would. So hopefully Kings fans hearing this are knowing now that he wasn't upset, he wasn't sulking in the corner, he was just a late arrival.
I can tell you this: the most he got upset by was when a couple of his friends went into the suite and they said, "Yeah," he said, "What do you want?" And he says, "Oh, I'll just bring you back something." And they brought him back a little. It's funny, they had these little what look like beaker tubes. If you're ever in one of those in those rooms back there, the Lexus Lounge, and they have a lot of food and stuff like that. A lot of hors d'oeuvres. I'm not allowed in there, but they'll bring these little. I always laugh, like their popcorn or their caramel corn or something like that. Little snacky things that they have are in these little cylinder tubes, and they're about 6 inches, 9 inches tall. So you've got caramel corn in there, and they might have like 8 pieces of caramel corn in there. He's looking at this like, really? Are you kidding me? This is what they have. And so yeah, he was more upset that he waited on his friends who didn't really bring him back enough to that he thought he was thinking he'd get some popcorn or something. But no, he was in good spirits. I mean, the guy has been here. I mean, at that point, he'd only been in town I think less than 2 days, and it's been kind of a whirlwind for him. So. Yeah, I wouldn't take too much into stock of that. I mean, a lot of these guys came on their own. Costa had one friend he showed up with. Scal, I think, showed up on his own. A lot of these guys had courtside seats, but some of their friends were, kind of left to sit elsewhere, and Tyreek just wanted to sit with his friends.
Has Tyreek learned who Scal is? Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, I was in there, and it's funny. I had a thought in my mind when he was talking about and for people who don't know, he's asked about Scal Labissiere, and he talks about watching him play in the Bighorns game. Well, Scal didn't play in the Bighorns game; Papagiannis did, and so he's thinking he thinks he was asked about George Papagiannis. It was fun. When he starts talking about it, I had half a mind to be like, no, dog, no, George. He's talking about Big George, but I was like, nah, let's let him go. Let's see because I thought maybe he heard something I didn't. And then Katie, of course, had to call him out on it, and it was a funny moment. But then it was funny. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know Scal. He played in Kentucky, blah 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 blah." I mean, yeah, he's still. I kind of threw him a bone and said, suffice it to say, you're still learning your teammates. He goes, definitely. So yeah, it was a fun moment. But yeah, I mean, I think after after the next game or so, next practice, he'll definitely have all his guys down and know he's on his team for sure. They haven't had any practice time. I mean, they didn't practice today. They didn't practice the day before. So yeah, they play on Saturday. So they didn't have a practice then. With the 2:00 start time was kind of weird. So yeah, these guys haven't really been around each other that long. So it's that's going to happen.
All right, so I got 2 more questions.
I actually thought he was in a bad spot to be asked about Scal anyway. I mean, he's played one game with him.
Right. You just met a whole bunch of guys. What do you think about him?
Nothing like meeting 25 guys and asking about a specific one the next day.
That's funny. All right, I got 2 more questions for you, Sean. We'll let you get going.
Sure.
Just in a couple of words, what do you think of the roster as it sits? Is it smart for them to push for the playoffs? I mean, do you think they have a chance, or do you think it's just let the young guys run?
No, I don't think they have a shot for the playoffs. And really, nor should they. Jaeger should do what he's doing, which is playing more of the young guys. You're seeing more minutes for Scal. And unfortunately, Malachi's hurt. Papagiannis, I mean, I know people want to see Papagiannis. He's still not ready. I don't see a tremendous amount of opportunity for him even in these remaining 25 games. Maybe you get to the final 10 games or so, see where you are in the standings. One would hope that, at this point you're a little bit farther removed from the playoff hunt. But yeah, I think give it a couple weeks here and we'll see some more. But clearly right now, when you're a game and a half, you still got to go for it. Jaeger's got that mentality, and he's got those guys playing in a way where they want to go for it. And you know what? That you should applaud that, because again, even if they lose every single game, you're going to fail at tanking, because even if you lose every single game, you can't get the top pick. So I mean, you might as well play, right? You got to just play and let. I don't like losing mentalities. You kind of have to just have it go. I mean, certainly if you're a Kings fan, you want to root against New Orleans, because you don't, the more games they win, it hurts the pick that you get. And I always say there's 2 catastrophic things here with the New Orleans trade is aside from the fact that, oh yeah, if they sneak into the top 3, you lose that pick, which I think would be catastrophic for Kings fans. I mean, that would just be deplorable.
I think that's the worst part of the whole trade right there.
Yeah, I mean, how do you do that? I mean, again, that speaks to some of the inexperience. And again, you've got the best player in the trade. You've got the leverage, and you settle for a pick that's top 3 protected. That's where you hang up the phone. That's a deal breaker in my mind. You're losing. You already gave away the 2019 first round pick that they pulled off the table. That would have been a deal breaker for me too. But whatever, you go forward and you still have handlebars on it. I don't like that. But I also say it would be catastrophic is, not that I think this will happen, but just watch. Just a what if scenario. What if New Orleans gets more for Demarcus in a trade than the Sacramento Kings did, with a year remaining on his contract? If they look to trade him draft day, summertime, what have you, just what if? And I think that'll be a really tough pill to swallow for Kings fans.
Yeah, and our luck, it'll happen, or somehow the lotto balls will bounce, and we'll move back and Philly will jump ahead of us. It's just the Lotto doesn't seem to like Sacramento too well. Last question I have is actually from Facebook. One of our listeners, TJ Longacre, asks, looking back on the whole season, what is the best acquisition in your mind that the Kings have made, from free agency through the trades, call-ups, whatever the case may be? Who's the best acquisition this year for the Sacramento Kings?
That's a really good question. I would argue that it isn't a player. I would argue that the best acquisition the Kings made was Dave Yeager. I think the guy's a hell of a coach. I know people can pick apart some of his substitutions, some of his rotations, his starting lineups. I think you could argue that next to Demarcus Cousins, Dave Yeager has won them games. I think he's a hell of a coach. He might be a little smug, and I think that takes some getting used to. I think he might be one of the most brilliant in-game coaches that I've been around. I mean, and I was a huge Adelman guy. Obviously, Michael Malone, I was a big fan of. But Dave Yeager manages the game really, really well, and I think he single-handedly has been one of the biggest reasons they've remained competitive. So I do give kind of a tip of the cap to Yeager. If you want a player, I think Garrett Temple has been fantastic for them. Garrett Temple without DeMarcus Cousins, though, I mean, that looks a little troublesome. But before Cuz was traded, I mean, he even said it himself that Garrett Temple was the heart and soul of the team, and that really showed. I thought not only in the locker room, being a good vet, being a guy that has been through all sorts of. I mean, he's had quite the career when you really look at it. He's been in the D League. He's bounced around. He's been a little bit of a journeyman, a role player, and people respect him. And he's really outspoken on Twitter and social issues, and people really get behind that. I would say he would probably be one of the biggest acquisitions they made. But I would also give, I'm rambling, but I'd also give Ty Lawson. I actually really like what I've seen from Ty this year. He's been quite surprising. I think he's shown that he's still a capable NBA player. I've really enjoyed my time around Ty, and I was very critical of the relapse he had with the alcohol thing, especially with the whole Vegas and preseason and them going to the Kentucky, and he's back in Sacramento. Didn't play in Vegas. I mean, I said right there, you have to have a short leash. You should have cut him. But since that moment, everything's been pretty smooth sailing with him, and I think he's had a really good impression on his teammates, and I think you can single-handedly point to him as a big credit as to why Willie Cauley-Stein has been so impressive on the floor this year.
Absolutely. So, Sean, I really do appreciate you taking some time out of your evening. I know I told you 15 minutes. I just dropped you. Hold on there, sir. Just phone fell. No
problem.
No, like I said, I told you 15 minutes. We've gone a little over that. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Hopefully everyone catches your show tonight on ABC 10 and every week, and follows all the wonderful work you do for ABC 10 on a daily basis. So I definitely do appreciate it.
Very kind of you to say, Greg. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Enjoyed it.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot, man.
Bye-bye.
Right, take care.
All right.
Interesting.
Love the short little leash we have on our
Right.
phone call there. It doesn't allow me to drop anything, but yeah, I mean, I like some of this.
Interesting perspective. I think he was far more pro DeMarcus than I've heard from media.
Did you read Carmichael Dave's article? That
No,
he
I
put
didn't.
on?
I saw that. I have.
That was a fantastic written article about just it wasn't all up DeMarcus's butt as far as the love affair for him, but at the same time it was properly critical while understand it. You should read it.
I'll read it. Yeah, I saw it this morning.
It's a very well written piece that
Didn't get a
Dave
chance
put
to
out
read
there.
it yet.
People on Facebook are liking the fact that the girls poster behind you is in the shot. So it's, if you look at our screen here, Greg, it actually gets all the way to my
It does.
thing there, and then all the way to the corner of the room over there. So
I could probably move over to where I really want to be.
you absolutely could. So we'll continue talking about that. Sacramento Kings, new era, first night. Things looked amazing. Everyone's playing good. They run Denver out of the building. Night number 2, they come down to earth a little bit. They play.
They look.
Charlotte.
I was at both games, and yesterday afternoon, somebody made a comment after about the first 8 or 9 minutes when they were down
12-0.
Yeah, 12-0. It wasn't that long. It was you, because I texted you that they're looking a little scary, and you're like, yeah, 2:00 start time, probably not the greatest thing in the world.
You know, and the reason why I say that is simply for the fact that in all the time that I've ever played sports, all the time that doing anything, even on our show, we've done it differently where you have a set time. Like you know you're going to play in the evening, you know what you're going to play. And when it gets moved up, you don't perform as well. And you're a little bit out of your element, you're tired,
Right.
you're used to this time eating lunch. Like players are used to eating at 2:00, not suiting up and playing, you
Right.
know. I relate to it a little bit like when I used to play softball. 6:00 games, you might as well not have gone because you're used to playing at 7, 8, 9. And then you have that early game and you're just like, oh, why am I here? I'm not ready for it yet. So I think the 2:00 game had a lot to do with it because even in years past, the weekend matinee games at least started at 3. That
Right.
still gives them time to eat
That was
a
a
normal
weird
lunch.
time. I don't know why.
A Saturday at 2.
That was weird. In fact, I was going to the game and didn't find out until the day before that it was, excuse me, a 2:00 game. And it kind of threw me off. I'm like, really? Oh, man. The other thing that I think was going on yesterday was I think they were hungover. I think that there was so much energy, and they played so well on Thursday night. And they were so amped up and really wanted to make a statement about, let's get over this. He's gone. This is our team, new era, the whole bit, that it was almost a letdown on Saturday. And, there was a lot of talk about, well, this will be an easy game. Charlotte's horrible, blah, blah, blah. I just think that combination of a weird start time and the fact that I think that they were hungover. And I think the crowd was hungover too, because there was not 1/10 the amount of energy from the crowd that there was on Thursday night. It was a completely different crowd. It was I don't say one of the worst crowds I've ever been in, but the energy level was as low as I've ever seen it.
Yeah, it was flat. And honestly too though, same thing. Kings fans going to a game at 2:00.
Yeah.
Tell me driving down there it didn't feel weird.
Oh, it did. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you didn't have the same energy. You didn't have the same excitement. You're walking in, the sun shining, everything's going on. You're like, damn it, I probably should be working right now. I should be getting something done. Yep. Your mind's elsewhere. It's the middle of the day.
I was planning on what I was doing after the game. Instead of going home and going to bed.
And Bobby Jackson was on the postgame show with Jason Ross, and he's like, what are you gonna do? He's like, well, I can go out to dinner and take my girls out to a movie. He's like, I have plenty of time.
It was weird.
It's the same feeling for me when it's an East Coast game. They're playing Boston on a Saturday, and it's 10 a.m. and you're like,
yeah.
I'm watching the game at 10 a.m. What the hell's going on?
Or like the Martin Luther King 9:00 start that they play back east.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those, there's always a weird one that pops in there every now and again. And
yeah,
it just so happened to be yesterday. They play against Minnesota tomorrow night. What do you expect tomorrow night?
I think we're going to see kind of an in-between thing. I mean, I think there's going to be much more energy. I think the crowd's going to come back with a lot more to give the team. I think one of the biggest problems was Willie Cauley-Stein. I think was probably one that was affected the most by it because he went from, career highs to, back to the early season Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah, he looked terrible yesterday.
Yeah, so I think if
Robert Sir says the crowd had zero energy, it was lethargic for sure.
Yeah,
Robert,
it was. You're right on.
Let me ask you a question. Where do you sit in the stadium?
Yesterday I sat in section 118.
Okay. Have you ever sat in your normal seats, looked down behind the basket, behind the Kings bench, and think to yourself, why the hell does that guy wear a pink shirt every goddamn game?
No.
You've never seen that guy? Oh, that's Robert.
Oh, okay.
He wears pink. He stands out every game, and I'm just like, he stands.
Real men wear pink.
He stands out like a goddamn sore thumb.
Does he really? I'll have to watch for him.
It's like the most neon pink you can imagine. It's like purple, black, white, pink, black.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but he gets in every game. Cowbell's crazy. He's
all right.
He's
I'll take a look. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, Robert, thanks for tuning in, bud. Appreciate it. So tomorrow night I'll be there.
Cool.
Taking the whole crew. It was kind of a last minute thing. We have family in from Reno. They had tickets.
Oh,
My
cool.
wife hits me up and goes, hey, did you ever look for tickets for Monday's game? Missy and Scott are going. And I'm like, oh, this is the first time you're telling me about it at 11:30 the day before. Like, that's great. So I made a few phone calls and we'll be at the game.
I'll listen to you.
Well, let me take that back. I texted 2 people. I'll be at the game. And fun fact, one of the normal faces and voices you'll hear at Sleep Train Arena, well, there too, Mr. Scott Freshour likely will not be at the game.
He wasn't there yesterday either,
as his lovely wife is in labor.
Oh,
so
okay. He wasn't there. He wasn't there last night.
Baby Freshour should be on the way. So congratulations to Scott and his wife. I'm not sure if he has been or the baby has been born yet, but when they are, congrats.
Yeah, that's
or
cool.
He is, congrats.
Congrats, Scott.
So there's that. Like I said, I'll be there Wednesday night. Date night Wednesday night. We're sitting in Albert Chavez's seats.
Nice.
Section 1 something or another, row E. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm hoping to see some good energy. I'm hoping to see, something that I haven't seen before. And really I'm hoping that they pull from the I'm hoping they pull from that Boston game. That's the only game I've seen them win this year. I've been to 3 games. That's the first one I saw them win. And the energy in that game was absolutely outstanding. And
the energy on Thursday night was.
Well, I didn't get to see that one. So I'm hoping that they pull from what I've seen.
Well, I saw it. That's pretty good. Let's.
You want something funny? I'm looking at last week's show notes because that's what I'm going off of for this week. Mm-hmm. One of the things we wanted to talk about was Demarcus Cousins' ESPN interview where he proclaimed wanting to build a legacy in Sacramento and have his name in the rafters. We can scratch that one off the board.
Yeah, not gonna happen now. I wonder if he's got another 7 or 8 years to play.
You think he'll come back and make another run?
Well, I mean, do you think he, does one of those, come back and sign and play for his last year here? And 2, 3 or 4 years after he's retired, do you think they put his name in the rafters?
I don't think he's done anything to earn his name in the rafters.
Isn't he like the leading scorer?
Who cares?
Kings history?
Doesn't matter. Never has he sniffed 35 wins?
Oh, I know that.
Hasn't made the playoffs?
You don't have to convince me. I mean, that was just throwing it out there.
They should put what they should do? They should put a big T up in the fucking rafters.
Instead of his number, just put a T.
Oh, I have to give Barnbaum credit. Yeah, you heard that right.
Way.
I'm giving Barnbaum credit.
Tell me it's not so.
Mike Barnbaum had. Well, hold on. Barnbaum says Christmas NBA games have always had an early start. Yeah, Mike, that's Christmas.
We never play on Christmas, Mike.
So something happened on Facebook the other day. This was on Saturday. That I read one of Mike's super long posts.
Okay.
Because you know how Mike gets. When he gets off of Twitter and he gets full range, he gets into it.
He does.
He talked about the doubleheader he was going to. Sacramento Kings at 2, Sac State in the evening. Or no, I'm sorry, it was the Bighorns game. Bighorns, and then he went to another game, right?
Okay.
And he talked about his player to watch. And he said his player to watch in the Bighorns game was...
Papagiannis?
Isaiah Cousins.
Oh.
And he made a very, very, very good point, Mike. And I want to apparently not give you applause because the soundboard's not working. Hold on. Mike deserves this, so I'm going to make this work. Aha. Hear that click? Hold on. Nope.
There we go.
He said Isaiah Cousins needs to be called up. Him and Buddy Hield played together at Oklahoma. They had a hell of a backcourt. It would be good to see what possibly could be the future between those two. Then he made the point of the century. Not a chance. Will, I'm not sure what not a chance is. Recap for us, please. Probably DeMarcus coming back. Yes, absolutely not a chance.
Yeah, no.
Or in the rafters. We said a lot of things that would apply to. All of them around DeMarcus. He said that Isaiah Cousins, should he come up, needs to wear number 15.
Oh, shit.
He would have an abundance of fans cheered for him. The team wouldn't have to reprint anything. They could sell all the merchandise. He wouldn't have to have the I on the end of his name, which they don't do anymore, for being the same last name.
Right.
It would be marketing gold for Isaiah Cousins. And think about the confidence boost. I know it's not for him, and like, he would know the truth, but when you're in the heat of the moment and
half the arena's in your jersey, and then start calling herself Boogie. I mean, no, but like, I'm like, just like, man, just think about all that could happen with that. maybe he starts calling himself Bogey.
Yeah, they just take out an O. That would be like pure genius for Isaiah Cousins coming on number 15.
So there's only one thing wrong with that plan. It's the Kings.
Yeah,
and they never do anything smart like that. No, they'll give him like number 51.
Well, he gets and all these fans will be like, "Damn it, come on." Yeah, I don't know. So, I'm looking forward to all of that. We did the top 50 revisited last week. Chris Webber got into the Hall of Fame finalist list. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I would love to see Isaiah Cousins come up. TJ Longacre agrees.
So let me ask you one more question about the trade and what we got for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it's way, way, way too early to ask this question, but we got nothing better to do, so I'm going to ask it anyway. Mm-hmm. Do you think that with this trade and having Buddy Hield, I have been completely impressed with Scal the last 2 games. He's played amazing. With those two, with Willie Cauley-Stein, with Bogdanovich coming next year, which, in essence, we get another first-round draft pick.
Yep.
Do you think that we have the building blocks for a pretty damn good team?
Yes and no. I guess you assume Rudy resigns next year. We don't have a small forward. Bogdanovich is another shooting guard. I guess Galloway would be gone. Tyreek would be gone. So that leaves Temple. Macklemore probably won't be back. So it leaves Temple, Hield, and Bogdanovich. Hopefully Big Papi learns to play. Papa George learns how to play a little bit. Willie will continue to grow. You know what I would love to see? And the short answer is yes. But what I would love to see was something a lot of people talked about Demarcus doing in the offseason. That was hooking up with like Hakeem or McHale or one of those like grizzly veteran big men. Or, I don't know, maybe one of our owners who was supposed to help out who never did, Shaquille O'Neal. I would pay money to go sit at a park or stand next to at the Thai Bistro, whatever it is, the one that's right out next to the practice facility. Uh-huh. I would pay money to be able to stand there and watch Willie work with someone like that in the offseason.
Yeah. I've seen good glimpses of Willie. Thursday night he
played free. He was having fun.
I know, and he reminded me a lot of Anthony Davis at the All-Star game, where he got a S-load of points just picking up rebounds and slamming them back in.
I agree, Will.
What did Will say?
Will says Rudy's not a star. And then Chris Levine says Rudy is gone.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think he's gone. He has 14 million reasons coming off of an Achilles rupture to not be gone yet.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that, if he heals as quickly as Wesley Matthews did, and he can get out to the point where he can prove in the offseason that he's back to 100%, then he may not need to worry about re-signing that deal because he may be able to convince a team that he's good enough to pick up where he left off. Common knowledge says that's not going to be the case. Next season's going to be an audition for Rudy Gay, either to the trade deadline to get something for him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they use him as bait at the trade deadline if he's playing better.
Let's see. Hold on, I lost it. Bob Oldham says he's going to opt in because he has no value in the open market. I agree with that. With the new deal, that might change, says Will, this new CBA. And Chris Levine says, doesn't he hate it here?
No, I think he hated it here when DeMarcus was here.
He hated DeMarcus being on the team, is what I've been told by numerous people. Too. So that ultimately could change Rudy's perception altogether. It could have been.
And we don't know what Rudy can do with DeMarcus gone.
Well, we know he can do a ISO 4 ISO or whatever the hell they call it, a 1-4 flat,
1-4 flat,
miss the shot.
Right.
But Who knows? I mean, that there could be such a weight that gets lifted off of Rudy Gay's shoulders now that DeMarcus is out of town. I mean, shit. The other day, Rudy Gay was watching Coming to America, according to his Snapchat, and that makes him an okay person in my book. One of the best movies ever made.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, when going back to that building block question, I think we've both heard a lot of stories about guys who didn't want to be here because of DeMarcus.
Yep.
Ryan Anderson was one of them that I've heard. Seth Curry was another one that I heard didn't want to be here. And I'm sure there's others that just didn't sign here. And somebody brought up a point the other day where, they said, well, nobody wants to come to a small market to play. And, there's one small market that's got a shitload of NBA championships, has a ton of consistency, and can sign big players. And that's San Antonio, and they're smaller than we are.
Oklahoma City's doing okay.
Yeah. So, I think that it's going to be interesting to see. What are you boxing those up to send them somewhere?
No, I box them up every time I take them off.
Oh, okay. I think there's going to be something to be said about having a ton of money this coming summer, having a pretty decent crop of free agents. There's only so many designated players that can be out there for $200 million. So I think there's going to be a pretty good load of decent to almost all-star level players that are going to be, available. And with the right amount of money, we're going to still have to overpay to get them to come here. But I think it's going to be a lot easier for them to come here and sign some people that might make a big difference.
Let's see. TJ says, didn't hate DeMarcus as much as Dante Green did in reference to Rudy Gay. He said Dante Green once punched DeMarcus in the face. I never heard about that.
I didn't either, but I like it.
Will Nanoff says our management needs improvement. Bob Oldham says can't fire the owner, which I obviously agree with. Although I really wish the Jacobs were able to, and I would imagine these guys have combed through the agreements with the ownership to find a way to oust Vivek. And I would help pay money for lawyer fees for them to figure that shit out. Vlade Divac. One of the questions I meant to ask Sean, and we kind of kept him a little bit longer, so I didn't do it. So I'll ask you, do you think that there's anything that Vlade Divac, the GM, can do to change his perception with Kings fans at this point? Aside from a title.
I think the team playing better. And I think, looking at the draft that we had last year, and including us, we're huge critics of what he did in the draft. But now it's starting to Scal's looking a little bit better. I haven't heard much about Papagiannis, so I don't know what he's doing down in Reno. We don't have Bogdanovich yet. So I think the key is going to be he's got to have a great draft and he's got to sign a free agent or two this year. And if he can do that, and all of a sudden we're past the 35 win plateau that we never were with DeMarcus, I think that, people might start. I don't think they're ever going to give him a free pass. He's as a player, nobody's ever going to touch him. As a general manager, until he can prove himself to do something good, and it's got to make a big splash. It can't be a long-term thing. It's got to be a big splash.
Will says that Bogdanovich is his key.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. TJ says he should have a good draft coming up. Let's hope so. Did you see his interview with Eileen Voisin? His sit-down interview with Sackby?
I saw a piece of it. I haven't seen the whole thing
Did you
yet.
see the big piece of it? That he said he's confident that he was handcuffed by DeMarcus on the team.
Yeah.
He felt like he was shackled or
suffocated,
whatever. Yeah. And that he said that he had to make a deal. Obviously, he did. And that if he's confident that this team will be better in 2 years, and if the team is not remarkably better in 2 years, he'll resign.
Hey, you know what? What else can he do?
But here's my question. Isn't his deal only 2 years long?
Yeah, but I mean, if he's doing a good job, they're going to extend him.
That's assuming he does a good job.
They're going to extend him.
You can't resign if you get fired.
Well, I mean, they're just not going to re-sign him. So basically what he's saying is he's just going to walk away. What else can the guy do? It's like,
Thanks,
look,
Mike.
it's like, look, I'm putting my job here on the line, and 2 years is, 3 years is really what it takes to judge what a draft's going to do. And in a sense, with this trade, we picked up a draft choice that we really wanted in the first place.
Yep.
In Buddy Hield.
Yep.
So we got significantly younger. We probably took a step backwards in terms of overall play, but I think you're going to start seeing steps, and I think that particular step is going to help his reputation.
Chris Levine, who's a first-time listener, so I really appreciate you being on Facebook there, Chris. It's kind of like how it is as a Raider fan. We always just wanted a 500 record. I think if we can have a 500 record and compete, people will back off Vlade for a bit.
Yeah,
and that's what Greg just kind of said. He said if you could start getting out of that 30-win that window and really starting to push, there's a good chance that fans will back off. He's, to me, aside from just doing good in the draft, he's gonna have to convince a free agent bigger than a Garrett Temple.
Yeah.
Or Anthony Tolliver or Ty Lawson. He's going to need to convince someone to come here. You know what I mean? He would have needed to, if there's a situation where, let's say, Ryan Anderson doesn't want to come here because of a certain player, Vlade's going to need to prove his worth by changing someone's mind, showing them that the grass is greener.
Well, I think he did that on last Sunday. I think he did that last Sunday. Now he can go, look, we realized people didn't want to come here, and we realized what the reason was. So you know what? We got rid of that reason. So now you're going to come to a place where the fans adore you. You can almost do no wrong. There's really nothing you can do that are going to turn these fans against you. You can have 18 technicals in 1 year, and the fans are still going to love you. I don't think the players really geek out about the arena, but it's a brand new place.
TJ says he still wants Kenneth Fareed.
I don't mind Kenneth Fareed either. I think, and he can say, look, here's what happened last time we went through this. Last time we went through this, I came here and we picked up Chris and we picked up Jason and Peja came and, we were pretty good. And there's no reason why they can't do this again. And really, I'm not sure Chris was the key acquisition in that.
Vlade was.
I think Vlade was, absolutely. And I think that he can sell that and go back to what the atmosphere was like around here. And I'll put the atmosphere because I was dead square in the middle of it.
Well, Nano says I want a point guard.
Yeah. So I think a good point guard, maybe not quite all-star level, but almost an all-star, or maybe an all-star if he can persuade one.
The good thing is, though, this draft apparently is going to be the deepest it's been in point guard
You're right,
in a long time.
Right, and it's going to be interesting. I think this summer is going to be a huge step towards Vlade's longevity here. What he can do free agent wise, what he can do draft wise. What happens with Bogdanovich when he shows up? Is he everything that everybody said he was?
We need Jay Will, and then TJ says we should get a guy like Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. I wonder now if Isaiah wants to come back.
How great would that be? Isaiah's like the prodigal son comes
right.
back. I hope we can get Jason Tatum from Duke. I'm going to be honest with you. I have not really. I don't watch college basketball until March, and then I really start taking note of players. And then, although, that's not always the best medicine for that. However, that's how I get my college fix. I don't follow mock drafts. I don't do a mock draft. I just wait and see. About a week before, once the NBA joke of a combine happens, I start taking assessments on players. I just want the Kings to pick the best player that they can get that makes sense. I don't want a situation where we have to make another soundbite.
A fucking punter!
Where they take another center in the damn first round next year or whatever.
Well, I want them to take the best player that's available, regardless of position.
Except a center.
But if they
We
can
have like 30. We're the new 76. The new 76.
Yeah, but what if, and there really isn't. There's not a center out there that's all-star capable. But what happens if there's an all-star center out there? A potential all-star center. What if there's a young Anthony Davis out there? So at that point, I take him because then I can dump Kufus and I can move Willie Cauley-Stein to 4 or do whatever we need to do. But I think whenever our pick comes, whatever position that happens to be, I think you pick the best player that's on the board and you work to get him fit in.
TJ says hashtag the new process. I just saw Jacob join. Jacob, hello from San Diego.
Hey,
Thanks
Jacob.
for watching.
That's not. That's one of the Jacob brothers, is it?
I wish it was one of the Jacob brothers. No, it's my sister-in-law's ex-boyfriend, boo thing. Good kid.
Boo thing?
Her boo thing.
Nice.
What was I was going to ask you another question. Oh, speaking of the draft, what do you think of Young Gun in UCLA and his idiot dad who won't shut the hell up?
Dude's got to be.
If you're a GM, you have the number 1 overall pick. Are you taking Ball with the fact that his dad's coming along?
No. What if you're the Lakers? What if you're the Lakers and he's on the board? Do you take him?
That's the only team he'll play for. So his dad says only team in the NBA he will play for is the Los Angeles Lakers.
And that's a lie because what's he going to do? Go to China? Go to Europe and play there?
You think he's going to turn down that rookie deal?
Right. No. What an idiot. And the worst part of the whole thing is there's 2 more brothers coming up.
Yeah, that the NBA's fucked for the next forever.
Right.
As long as this guy's around.
Did you see the kid, the youngest brother that scored 92 points?
Yeah, fuck that kid. Play defense, you little putz.
And he wasn't, there were a couple of moves that I wasn't impressed with.
No, he cherry-picked the whole goddamn game.
He cherry-picked, and even when somebody guarded him and he tried to go around him, it wasn't that good. I don't think he's that good.
The least impressive 90 points I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, that was stupid.
Chris Levine says Ball is going to the Nets. TJ thinks he's off the board by pick number 3.
Do the Nets have a first pick?
The Nets have a chance to have the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, but then it goes to Boston. Yeah, they have the number 1 pick. Boston has a chance because they have the Nets pick this year, and they have the Nets pick
TJ
next
just
year.
confirmed it. Thanks, TJ. We need that audio. I just need a thanks, TJ, because we say it so many. I'm tired of saying it.
Show killer right there.
What?
Show killer from Pardon the Interruption. Isn't that what they call Phil the Show Killer?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they call him. Maybe that was Dan Patrick. I don't know. What was I going to ask you? Jesus Christ. Why do I go down these squirrel holes and then forget what I was going to ask?
Something about playing with Ball. What if he goes to a different team?
Oh, yeah. So what if you are the Lakers? Do you make that pick and go, okay, we'll deal with that? I think the one thing that the Lakers have going for them is the guy that they have in charge now, and there isn't anybody that's going to stand up to Magic. Magic's going to, I don't think even a guy like Ball's dad is going to stand up to Mark to.
Damn it, Barn Bomb.
Oh, shit. Mike, you just blew it.
First of all, he's updating us that the Clippers and Hornets are tied at 113 and watch it on NBA TV. I don't know why. Now they're headed to overtime. And then neither Lonzo Ball nor anyone else heading into the draft should be drafted by the Los Angeles Losers.
Hi, this is Mike Barnbaum. Please join.
What? Someone has to be drafted by him.
I don't know. Although somebody told me, I think I heard this on ESPN, that if the Lakers get one of the top 3 picks, it goes to Philly.
What?
TJ, help me out, man. Will
says the dad is a dumbass. TJ says if they draft Ball, they have to figure out what to do with D'Angelo Russell. What they need to do is they need to get rid of Swaggy P if they're going to draft anybody.
God. They just need to get rid of Swaggy P. TJ, help me out with that Lakers pick. I heard that a couple of times and it blew me away.
TJ's getting on Mike a little bit. Hold on. He says, Mike, you can't. They're the fakers. It rhymes. You can't call them the Los Angeles Losers. That's funny. So, fun fact: while I'm waiting for this to reload, I'm undefeated at Golden One Center.
Are you?
Yeah, my team won. We only finished one game. We played to like 25, and our
Nice.
team won. Undefeated.
How was it playing there?
It was cool. It was big. God damn, that place is big when you're on the floor.
Really?
Yeah, and it was empty, so it was just quiet. You could hear everything.
How was it shooting? How was it shooting? How was the background to shoot?
Cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I just saw Isaiah Thomas. He's little. It reminded me of this. Did you see Nate Robinson?
Yes. Where was that?
D-League.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. So if you haven't seen
In
that,
the 2017 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers first round pick remains a top 3 protected pick, but it's unlikely to trigger. It cut off. What the? TJ, I don't know what the rest of that says. Oh, trigger protection. There it is.
okay, so it's top 3 protected.
Right.
So if it's not top 3, then it goes to the 76ers.
Whew.
So the 76ers could have our top pick. They could have the Lakers' top pick.
And their own.
And their own. Well, no, they switch with us, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They switch with us.
Yep. And if the Kings are idiots, they keep on winning games, then guess what? We lose our first pick.
Yeah, because it goes to Chicago.
Yep, and then Philly. So this is the last year of the pick swap for Philly. They have to do it this year.
I thought it was next year.
Nope, this year is the last one. It's only a 2-year agreement on the pick swap.
And same with the Chicago pick.
The Chicago pick expires this year.
If they don't get the first, they get a second this year.
They get a second next year.
Is it next year or this year?
I don't think it's this year because we get to keep.
I thought it was next year. I thought it was this year.
Oh, anyways, yeah,
Whatever
it
is.
turns to a second, and then in 2019, Philly gets a first round pick no matter what.
Oh, really?
Yeah, thanks for that, Vladdy. I totally just brain fucking farted on what I wanted to say.
I'm watching this hockey game. Some guy comes off the bench and just nails
the ref.
Yeah, watch the guy in the background. Watch the guy in the background. He's like, really? What the fuck? Watch the player in the background. Wow.
That's crazy.
This is pretty dangerous having SportsCenter on while we're doing the show because I get distracted pretty easily.
Squirrel. Let's move on. Let's get out of basketball talk for a second.
Oh, I thought that's all we talked about.
Hey, were you as excited as I was on
Friday?
Yeah.
When
When your phone went off for the first time with the MLB at bat notification.
I didn't get that. I got to check mine. I didn't get that.
I threw a little party. I was at an appointment in San Francisco.
Party in your mouth?
Party in my pants.
Everybody came?
Yeah, that's right. Giggity. I'm sitting there. We're at this meeting. I'll tell you about it later. It's kind of cool. Everything's on silent except for my watch. I forgot to put my watch. It's like ding, and I'm like, I look and it's like, so and so singles in the second inning. The Giants lead the Reds. What? I'm like, yes, fucking baseball's back. And then I get another one. It's like Giants are down 4-1, and then some unknown guy hits a walk-off home run for the Giants, and I'm like, yes. Giants are the best team in baseball right now. 3-0.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Odd year, baby. Odd even. Oddleman. Believe in.
Wait, what are we? We were even year, right?
Blood.
Now we're odd.
Blood. Oh, man. I'm so happy baseball's back. So
I know. I actually turned on the game for a little bit, and I'm not really a big John Miller fan, but I kind of took a nice big breath and relaxed a little bit. And now the only thing that's left to say that it's spring and winter's over is the Masters. Once the Masters start, then it's full on spring and summer.
Will says, let's go Oakland. I want to talk about this for a second. Obviously not an Oakland Athletics fan, but every Oakland fan that I've talked to, every article that I've read, every piece of coverage that I've seen, everything that I've seen around the Oakland Athletics right now, for the first time in so long, it's positive. And I'm so happy for A's fans right now. The fact that front office change is in effect, it is like the proverbial just pile of shit has been no pun intended in the dugouts, has been lifted off the shoulders of A's fans. Yeah. There's already been money spent on trying to secure a stadium site. There's been talks about, different stadium options and different plans to put in motion. they're talking about signing players. It's almost like someone I don't know, removed the dome off of the Oakland Athletics and was like, hey, guess what? Oxygen's coming.
Well, you know what it was? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it reminds me of the Raiders that they finally made the moves. They finally got somebody in there that knew what they were doing in terms of keeping players and acquiring players instead of just being everybody else's farm team. And
although they did acquire Santiago Casilla.
Yeah, well.
We'll see how that one goes.
Some things don't change. Watch him have 25 saves this year and no blown saves.
He'll have 65 saves this year. He'll be 15-0 and
yeah,
it's how it'll be.
No blown saves.
They'll also sign fucking Brian Wilson as a knuckleball starter. He'll win the Cy Young. Lincecum will come.
Beardless Brian Wilson too, by the way. Yeah.
But an announcement regarding an athletic stadium site will be announced within the calendar year. Cool. I like that,
Yeah.
Mike. I'm all for a new stadium.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Giants, the Giants are looking good as far as their roster shakes up right now. They have a lot of vets they brought into camp. We'll go over the roster next week. We have, they have Michael Morse who came back.
I'm not sure he's going to make the team, but.
And I'm not sure that he'll be. I don't think he'll take assignment to Sacramento either, which is kind of a bummer. Although Morse did come out and say, so fun story. Morse was at Hunter Pence's wedding,
and that's when Hunter Pence convinced him to sign.
Well, first he found himself standing next to Bobby Evans.
That's what it was.
And they got to talking, and he said, "Look, I'm not done. I only took 13 at bats last season. I know it wasn't enough. No one signed me. I'm not done. I want to prove it." And Bobby Evans said, "Come to camp." And he's like, "Wait, what?" And they didn't talk about it anymore. And then a couple weeks later, he got the official invite. And he basically came out and said, if I don't make the San Francisco Giants roster, I'm not playing baseball this year. It's one and done for him. He wants to be on the Giants or he doesn't want to play at all. Now, I'm hoping that after only having 13 at-bats last season before being cut by Pittsburgh and not being re-signed, that if he's serious about wanting to play for the Giants, that he comes unless he has the most dynamite spring you can imagine, hits 30 home runs in spring and is just superstar Michael Morse. I really hope that he'll consider taking an assignment at Sacramento so that he can prove that he's not washed up.
Right.
They're trying him out at first base more. He played a little bit of first base, but he played primarily left field for the Giants. Get him in there at first base. Get him out there and.
Well, he also knows how to play left field in AT&T Park, which, some of the rookies might not.
Now, selfishly, I just want to talk to the guy at Rayleigh Field. I really, really want to be a part of it. But they also have Jimmy Rollins. They have that.
I'm not sure Rollins is going to make the team.
No, but I think Rollins will take an assignment to Sacramento.
I think he will.
They have a lot of young guys.
Look at that face. Look at that face. That's a face only a mother could.
It was game 1, and they had screenshots of Demarcus crying to the refs. One game in a new uniform. I was like, this got to be photoshopped. I'm like, nope, it came from the thing. Yeah, we're gonna go over the Giants roster. They'll put Morse in sack and call him up for the A's series, and he'll hit 3 home runs. That guy kills us. Will, like I said, I really hope he takes the assignment at Sacramento. I just don't think he's going to. I think his pride is too high right now. But I hope that he finds a way to swallow that.
But he's also a good clubhouse guy. We all know Bobby Evans likes him.
I really hope that what happens is he has a dynamite spring.
Yeah.
They go, look, we just don't have a spot for you yet. We want you up. You'll be up. Go down to sack. Keep your bat hot. Keep your legs loose. You'll be up soon. And I would love to see that happen. There's a lot of talk, too, about... I need to look at the rosters now because there's a player that I really want to see or I really want to talk about. SFGiants.com. I think he would take that. I would love to see him take that, TJ. That would be great as a Giants fan. As a big Michael Morse fan. Pulling up the Giants website right now. Sorry to go off topic, but an ABC 10 push notification I just received.
I want to hear from the same people in 2 years. If I'm right, great. If I'm wrong, I'll step down.
That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah. Mike, what's your...
if I go down, I'm going down my way.
That a boy. Williamson and Parker shine as battle and left job. Giants blast a trio of home runs against the Reds. Moore pleased with first outing in the spring. Okay, where's the roster? Apparently, Moonlight won Best Picture. Thanks for that.
No, La La Land did.
Mike Barnbaum just said Moonlight won Best Picture.
I got a notification earlier that La La Land did.
Interesting. Let's see. Third baseman. I want third baseman. Third baseman. Yeah, that dude's going to be good.
Oh, no. Oscar mishap. Warren Beatty mistakenly announces La La Land as Best Picture winner. Moonlight actual winner of Best Picture.
Good job, Steve Harvey.
Right? Oh, so I just saw the first part of that. So, wow. So Steve Harvey's going to have a friend.
Right. Oh, at least it wasn't Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, I got to go to the Rivercats, Ross. Thank you for waiting during our technical difficulties. We now return back to Sports Talk 916. The other thing that's coming up, which I think is going to be awesome for us, is I was approached by the Sacramento Rivercats, by their media relations guy, that said he's been wanting to talk to us about getting something involving the Rivercats on our show.
Cool.
So we started kicking around some ideas while I was in traffic driving home from San Francisco on Friday. And essentially what we've come down to, and this is the pre-planning, TJ, you're going to get a kick out of this, or actually you're going to like this a lot. Right now we're planning a live Sports Talk 916 locational broadcast from Rayleigh Field, either in the Western Health Sky Lounge in the left field corner, the dugout, or the clubhouse. We haven't decided fully yet.
Or the Solon Club.
The Solon Club. Somewhere that has a strong Wi-Fi, obviously. But we're going to work with Robert Barsanti, the media rep there, and we're going to do a exclusive and extensive season preview for the Rivercats.
And then we're gonna be one of your exclusive homes for the Rivercats in terms of coverage and reporting and talking about the players and maybe even doing a lot of interviews with the players.
Yeah,
so
we really want to try this year to be what other media doesn't touch, and that's the Rivercats, coverage. No one seems to care about it. 1320, who broadcasts the games, doesn't care about it. So we're really going to reach out and try to get that done. Hopefully soon. We're going to talk about the promotional schedule, the giveaways, the roster, anything that we possibly can to bring good coverage. And like Greg said, we want to build a relationship with these guys. We want to, get in touch with these players to where maybe we can have them on the show. We can set up interviews with them. We can go ahead and even follow them to San Francisco. That's obviously the ultimate end goal. And we'll wrap the show up with a little bit of behind the scenes stuff as far as to show that we're a little bit more serious than before on this. Some equipment that's been gathered for this reason.
Oh yeah.
You've all seen our mic or our tape recorder. This year, though, we've expanded it out to a little lapel mic. It'll allow us to get closer audio. We won't have to stick a recorder in people's face.
Or an iPhone.
Or an iPhone in someone's face. Hopefully that'll work out. And then the big one is going to be this guy over here.
I just lost all my audio.
Did you?
Yeah.
You don't have anything?
There we go.
All right. The big one is this guy here. It is obviously it's a rig. It's got the GoPro. It's got the GoPro microphone for external audio. And it's got the housing here, the jaws, we'll call it, to hold the cell phones. So we can do Facebook Live. We can do recorded video. We can do batting practice. We can do, from the camera well during the game, get game footage. A lot of things that we've never done in the past with the Rivercats, we're looking to bring on this year. So
that's the first time I've seen that up close in person.
Yeah, I used it today at Golden One Center. I set it up in a chair and recorded us playing the whole time.
Nice. How'd it work? How'd it turn out?
Let's find out. But I'm super excited about what we have a chance to bring to the table when it comes to the Rivercats.
And I think they're pretty excited about teaming up with us too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that'll be cool.
Let's see here. Here's a 46-minute video. It's wide angle, it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
sounds good on it too.
And that's just from the audio there.
Yeah,
so.
I like that.
And that's these little unidirectional mics. It's just a little doohickey.
Yeah.
We can plug these into, well, not our phones, but we can plug these into our little dongle too, but it would be like a floppy microphone. But yeah, so big things coming hopefully for the Sacramento Rivercats this season. I'm looking forward to it though. But anyways, what I was trying to find earlier was the third baseman, not Hung, that we were talking about. They also brought back Gordon Beckham. The fuck is his name? He's not here either. Let's see here. TJ says that's badass. I mean, I'm just looking forward to just having Christian Arroyo. There's been a lot of talks about Christian Arroyo that he's going to make the call. He's going to be called up from Richmond this year.
He's going to Sacramento. He's got Sacramento. He'll be in Sacramento.
And they are fully anticipating after a year in Sacramento. They don't want to call him up early. They don't want to call him up if they don't have to San Francisco, but they want to have him ready for September call-ups or a playoff push should there be one. And all the intention around Sacramento or San Francisco right now is that Christian Arroyo will be the starting third baseman for the San Francisco Giants next season.
Because right now he's a shortstop. So
he's been playing short with a little bit of third.
But obviously shortstop's pretty booked up for the next 7 or 8 years. So
yeah, the guy they have there he's all right.
He's not too bad. He's got some upside.
He's serviceable.
He's got some upside. Yeah. He's a little bit more than a utility player.
Yeah. He might need a haircut, but not too bad. TJ says Steve Harvey's officially off the hook on Facebook. But let's see. The other thing we had on the docket was 49ers talk. I mean, we're getting close to the draft and all that.
I want to take a break from the 49ers.
Yeah, me too. Let's talk one more thing about baseball.
Okay.
Do you give, and it's kind of older, but do you give Sergio Romo a pass joining the Dodgers?
That's a good question. I think you do. I think what you do is you do like we do in Sacramento. The first time he comes back, you give him a standing ovation. And then after that, he's just another Dodger. He's just another Dodger. But I think you have to recognize him the first time he comes back because he did so much for that team.
Now, here's the thing, though. The Giants didn't offer him a contract. God damn, that's a sick tongue. The Giants didn't offer him a contract. They didn't have a spot for him. They told him that straight up.
Yeah.
He grew up a Dodger fan. Yeah. His dad's a Dodger fan his whole life. His
family lives down there.
He has a chance for his family to watch him play for the team they grew up watching. I give him a free pass. I've seen so many people on Facebook just crucifying the guy for choosing him. And they're comparing it to Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson went there chasing a check. Juan Uribe went there chasing a check. Tony Romo went there chasing an offer. That's the only team that offered him a job.
Right. I liken it a little bit more to, if you're going to be pissed off at somebody, it's going to be somebody like Jeff Kent, who goes there after he was a Giant.
Yeah.
That's...
Mike says, quick local note on the 49ers. They signed Sacramento State standout wide receiver DeAndre Carter this week.
I don't know if I call him standout. Yeah.
Well, he was at Sac State, but who really stands out at Sac State? TJ says Tony. We're talking about Romo. Do you think Tony Romo is a 49er this year?
No.
Houston
way.
Texan.
Denver Bronco.
I'm thinking Texan or Bronco for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about the? What do you think about the? And I know we've talked about this in the past, but now it's a little bit more relevant. What do you think about the new rule change in baseball? With
Love it. Intentional walk.
See, I don't
Love it.
I don't.
Speed the damn game up, even if it's.
But it's 1.3. 1.3.
It happens once every 2 games.
Yeah, so it's going to save what, 20 seconds? What they need to do is, it's not the game that's slow that takes so long. It's not the playing of the game.
It's the players' antics.
It's the trips to the mound. It's the stepping out of the batter's box. It's the frequent pitching changes. You know, I say what you do is you limit the number of trips anybody can make to the mound, including the catcher. You know, because there's nothing worse than pitcher's in trouble, catcher goes out, talks to him for a minute, comes back out, goes back out and talks to him again, and the manager comes out. And then they make a pitching change. And then the pitcher comes in and he gets 8 or 9 pitches to throw once he's on the mound. What they need to do, he better be warmed up in the bullpen.
TJ says it's not taking place this year. The players' union wasn't on board with the change.
No, I think that one was. One of the other ones wasn't. The pitch clock.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're doing the 4 pitch.
I think they are too.
I'm okay with it though. Just simply for
I'm not because
that no one wants.
But really, what is it? It's there to save time.
Here's my
suggestion. How much time
suggestion.
does it say?
Here's my suggestion. Base is empty, and you're walking the guy. 4 pitch, send him down. You don't need to throw a pitch, just signal him down. If there's any runners on base, you make that damn pitcher to lob those in there because they fuck it up.
I like that. I like that.
There's
a lot.
no need.
But how often are you going to get an intentional walk with the bases empty?
Giancarlo Stanton comes up. He's 3 for 3 with 3 bombs, and it's a tie game. You're going to walk him?
Yeah, but how many times that can happen?
I'm just saying.
I know.
In a rare, how many times are they intentionally walking somebody?
It's
once
stupid.
per 2 games.
It's a dumb rule. What they need to do is they need to limit the amount of pitches that a reliever gets to pitch once he gets into the game. They need to eliminate people being able to step out of a batter's box. They need to eliminate or limit the number of trips to the mound people can take. Again, going back to what I said before, catcher goes out, comes back in. First baseman comes in and talks. And all it is designed to give the bullpen a chance to get warmed up. Well, tough. If you think you're gonna replace a pitcher, get his ass out there and pitch. So I think they could have done a lot more. I think this is I don't know. I think it's a waste of time. I hate the fact that you're taking a potential play that could affect the game out of the game. You know,
I honestly think
pitcher winds up and throws the ball over the catcher's head. You're potentially limiting a team from scoring a run or moving somebody up. And I think it really affects the game, and I think it affects the game too much.
My favorite thing ever was Barry Bonds' home run on an intentional walk.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I'm okay with as long as if there's no one on base. Okay. If there's no one on base, just signal them down. If there's
what Mike say this time?
Damn it, Barn Bomb.
You know, you have a barn bomb look.
Now?
You have a barn bomb look that you make whenever he says it. So I know exactly who it is.
It's not good because we're on camera now each week. It says, I like the change in the rule to the intentional walk to speed up the game. Baseball needs to limit extra innings and or eliminate extra innings altogether. It's okay to end a game in a tie. Heck, even though it was a spring training game, Cubs and Indians today ended in their game in a 1-1 tie after 9 innings.
Really? Mike?
Hi, this is Mike Barnbaum.
Mike, here's Mike. Let me make a suggestion to you. You might want to not sing.
Hold on. Just let it run. Hold on.
What's that? I know.
Le who? The her.
It's now time for my loser of the week.
Ooh.
Mike Barnbaum, you just earned rights to loser of the week with
Really,
that comment.
Mike, and you screwed it up because you got props earlier.
Yeah, you were having the winner of the week show.
Mike, you need to, sometimes you just, sometimes.
Sit on your fingers, Mike.
Yeah.
Wait. Cross your fingers and place them in your lap, Mike.
Sometimes less is more. Just think back to the Demarcus trade, Mike. Less is more. Let's limit. We're going to put you on a limit of things that you can say during each show. You should have stopped when we gave you props.
So this right here is Mike in the beginning of the show. Right?
Yeah.
This is Mike at the end of the show.
Oh no! We suck again!
Yeah, Mike. Sorry, man. I love you. I love you. Oh, by the way, I got to give Mike props.
I do live for extra inning games with TJ's comment. Absolutely.
Got to give Mike props. So we're at the game Thursday night, beginning of the fourth quarter. Slamson's running around on his stilts, and I think it was Fresh, because Fresh I think was at the game. Mike gets a mention, and he's holding the sign that says "Make noise," and he was running over, and he had a big old smile on his face, and again, props. But Mike, you screwed it up, dude. What are you doing? At least I got to give him props for one thing. He didn't say they should start with a runner at second base.
I have no problem with international rules after a certain amount of extra innings.
No.
International rule makes the game interesting. It puts a onus on the pitcher.
No. What do? I mean, you start the game. So
it's the last out of the last inning. You put them on second base. They've been using
No, that's not what it is. It's every inning I think after the 12th starts with a runner at second base.
And it's the last out of the previous inning goes to second base. If they follow traditional international rules, which are used in softball and international baseball.
That's softball. There's a reason why it's softball.
Right, but think about it. You're stretched out in the bullpen. You have a guy that's coming in.
Deal with it.
I'm okay with that one in a sense.
I'm not at all.
Until I'm sure I'll be okay with it until it costs our team a game, and then I'll be like,
I'm not happy with that at all.
What they should do, hear me out on this one.
Oh God.
Innings 18 and beyond. If they get to 18 like they did in like the playoffs, you have a designated Verosa on the team or a designated Benji Molina on the team, and you put your slowest, most unathletic bullpen catcher on second base, and you make him run the bases. Something that would just I don't know. I honestly don't really like that rule. It's dumb. I was just trying to fire you up.
You did a good job of it.
Yeah,
I was going to say you replaced Barnbaum as loser of the week.
I can't stand that rule. I'm okay with the intentional walk. If you have to pick one of the new rules, give me the intentional walk. Do not put international rules in play. But that's pretty much what we have for the show this week. Unless you have anything else, full circle, random, whatever you want to go with. Anything?
No, I was just looking to see if I could see the Warren Beatty clip on.
Oh. Who won the Daytona today?
Kurt Busch.
Oh, nice.
Kurt Busch. A lot of wrecks. The first half of the race was pretty quick. Not a lot of wrecks. The second half was, at one point they said there were 40 cars on the
Damn it, Barnbaum.
on the track. I'm just ignoring him. I'm ignoring him. There were 3/4 of the cars had been involved in a wreck.
Nice.
30 out of the 40.
So Mike has a question for TJ.
Oh God.
TJ. So why? Because TJ says you play to win the game.
You play to win the game.
Mike says, TJ, so why does the NFL have a rule in place to allow tie games after one overtime in the regular season? I believe Seattle and Arizona in 2016 ended in a tie, as I recall. That's because the NFL is stupid. The NFL should not end in ties. There's no place in competitive sports for a tie. The NFL after their first overtime needs to switch it to the college overtime system after 2 overtimes. Give them the ball at the 25. See how well their defenses are, because everyone who watches football in any capacity knows that the defense steps up in the red zone or in the 25-yard line in that grid. See how good your team really is. It's seriously mano a mano at that point. You stack the defense, you stack the offense.
As long as you play a full overtime quarter, I'm all right.
Full overtime.
But not just going straight to that.
If it's full overtime, it ends in a tie, or if it goes field goal, and it ends in a tie, whatever the situation is, they still have the same thing. If you score a touchdown in first possession, you win.
I think they need to get rid of that too. I think everybody, if you march down the field and you score a touchdown, you need to have a chance. The other team needs to have a chance to have the ball. I think they need to at least get rid of that rule to where each team gets a chance to.
Okay. Each team possesses the ball in overtime.
Yep.
But get to the second overtime, 30-yard line, 25-yard line, whatever it is. I think 25 is fair.
I'm all right with that.
Each team gets a possession. If you kick a field goal and the other team scores a touchdown, obviously you win. It's sudden death for a touchdown at that point. Or not sudden death. It's score a touchdown to basically keep the game going.
Right.
And if you kick a field goal, then you do it again. And there's no kickoffs. There's no chance for a falling down cornerback who allows Tim Tebow to throw a 90-yard touchdown to win a playoff game. There's none of that. You stack your defense. You put the best product on defense. You put the best product on offense, and you let those two gut it out.
Yeah.
A touchdown wins the game. I think a tie in professional sports at any level, aside from spring training, because spring training you have 700 people on your roster, and it doesn't matter. These guys are getting acclimated. It's
the
preseason.
last thing you want to do is blow out an arm in the middle of a
17-inning spring training game.
No,
you know,
that's stupid.
Do it.
Okay, I think I'm over this. I'm over this. I've seen his face too much.
Well, I could change it. Oh, by the way, the other night that the Kings game that we watched, or no, was it? Yeah, the one the Denver game. We're at Sky Sushi over there in Rosemont, getting ready to what you call it? We're eating dinner, and Kings game's on.
Mm-hmm.
The excitement level in that game, while I'm sitting at dinner, pulled up my DirecTV app, upgraded my services back to my sports package, went home, finished the game.
Wow.
Yep. Not to mention, I couldn't live without baseball. I mean, the Giants haven't been broadcasted yet, but the other day I watched the Twins and Red Sox, and I couldn't name three players. It was like the seventh inning when I joined the game. Didn't give a damn. There was the sound of the ball clapping into the glove.
Okay, so, there's a lot of talk about, obviously you and I are two different generations. I'm a baby boomer. What are you? Are you considered Gen X or are you a millennial?
No, I'm millennial.
A millennial. So it's your demographic that they're changing all these rules for.
Because they're lazy. They don't want to sit down and watch a damn baseball game. They want to just, it's stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about being out at a game, being able to sit out in the nice spring air, smell the grass, be able to have a conversation, but still watch a game. That's just, you can see everything. You can hear the crack of the bat. You can see the players. It's not like they're in a whole Knights uniform of armor and not see their faces.
Right.
And they're real people. They're not these 8-foot tall guys. Most of the players are pretty much normal looking guys. So I'm so excited about baseball.
Oh, I can't wait.
Can't wait.
Baseball's right around the corner. Rivercat spring training party is this weekend, I think. Hopefully we'll get out there and do our preview show soon, and we'll get to start covering baseball real soon.
Cool.
When does Rivercat start? I want to say...
I would imagine the second week of April, usually about a week after the big league start.
Yeah. Cool. Can't wait. But that's what we have for tonight. Thank you for everyone that watched on Facebook Live. Thank you for everyone who joined us in the Mixler box. Oh, one thing, if you've noticed on our website, sportstalk916.com, it's back up and running. There's
Yeah.
a new logo.
I like it. I like it
There's
a lot.
new background. There's a new videos page, which is going to have all of these Facebook Live videos embedded into it, so you can go back and watch them again directly from our website. And we're going to have a Rivercats launch page coming soon once we start getting our coverage of the Rivercats. So check it out. Let us know what you think. Obviously, there's our affiliates page. We haven't been doing a lot of our commercials. I think we need to go through and revamp all of our commercials.
Yeah, I know one sponsor is going to start getting pissed if his commercials doesn't start.
Yeah, one sponsor should pay for his commercials. I'm totally kidding.
Wow.
But
Okay, Barn Bomb.
right, loser of the week. But yeah, seriously, for Greg, I'm Greg. This is episode 201. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night, Larry.